Welcome to another Vikings Vintage. This week, we take on the Houston Texans. So we will talk about the Houston Texans, the history, and the history is that the Texans have never beaten Minnesota. So I hope that streak's going to keep going.
Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skol Vikings, let's roll.
I'm eating ice cream. Don't judge me. So, 0-5 Texans are against the Vikings. The first game was really the only one that was close. It was an overtime win. Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss, Corin Robinson was the leading receiver. Actually had the game winning. Yeah, he actually had the game winner in overtime.
Yeah, that was overtime, yeah.
Like a slant, I think it was.
Yep.
So, what? No, I don't have a cold. I don't have a voice.
Yeah, you were at the game Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were at the game Sunday. T-Bass, we're not counting the Oilers years because the Oilers are the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans are the new team that came on. So the Oiler records count with the Tennessee Titans. So when we talk about the Titans, that's when we'll bring up the Houston Oilers. Yeah. But our history against the Houston Texans, we haven't lost to them yet. Us in Philadelphia have never lost to them. So it's a brief history too. It's very brief. We played them 5 times, and we've beaten them 5 times. They've all been pretty.
Yeah, like I said, I believe the first one is the only one that was close.
That's the overtime one, right?
Yeah.
All the other ones were blowouts. Yeah, all the other ones were blowouts.
Yeah. All right. So, 34-28 was the first one.
Okay.
28-21 was the second one. 33-6 was the third one.
What year was the 33-6?
That was 12.
Oh, that's right. Adrian Peterson.
Then 20, it looks like 2016, it was 31-13.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And the last time they played it was 31-23.
Okay.
So this is the 6th time they've played. It's 3-3, 3 at home. This will be the third Vikings home game. So
this is the first time, really. Honestly, the teams have, for the most part, pretty even.
Both teams are good, yeah.
Yeah, the other one was probably 2012, but Houston's always had problems. They've always had not good quarterbacks. That being said, David Carr, that first game, damn near threw for 400 yards.
I think when Schaub was their quarterback, I don't think the Vikings ever played him.
And we beat Schaub. We beat Osweiler.
Yeah. Beat Carr.
The last quarterback we played was who was their last quarterback? What was the last meeting we had with them?
2020.
Who was their quarterback in 2020?
Okay, let's see. Oh, Ghostbusters 2 starts in 20 seconds. Let's go.
I don't remember who their quarterback was in 2020.
Watson.
Oh, it was Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. All right. That's right.
And
I forgot.
then
How did he do that game?
let's see the 20. Looks like we paid Watson twice. Oh no, Brock Osweiler was 2018.
Yeah,
Brock
I
Osweiler
remember
was
Brock.
19.
Yeah, I
He was
remember Brock.
19. He was 19 of 42 for 194 yards.
Okay. Wow.
Let's see what Deshaun was. Deshaun Watson was 20 of 33 for 300 yards, 2 TDs.
If I remember right, that came down to the end too. Yeah, they were driving at the end and they missed it. They didn't get in, so time ran out on them. Yeah, that was a COVID year.
And then so the Vikings, let's see. All right, so the third time they played, Christian Ponder was the quarterback. So Matt Schwab did play against him. He was only 19 of 32.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Yates came in.
What's his name? Rushed for 200 yards, AP, didn't he?
Adrian Peterson had 35 attempts. He only had 88 yards.
In that game? Wow.
Yeah.
35 attempts, only 88 yards. That's like a 1 yard average, 2 yard average?
3.4. Christian Ponder had 7 carries for 43 yards. Toby Gerhart, 8 for 31.
Oh, everybody carried the ball that game.
Yeah, that one was 31-19. So let's see.
So yeah, this will actually be the first time both teams are pretty much even.
Yeah. And then the second time they played, Sage Rosenfels was the quarterback for the Texans.
Okay.
Gus Frerotte was for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Gus Frerotte was 11 of 18 for 182 yards. Adrian Peterson had 25 carries for 199 yards.
Okay.
So that's the one you're thinking of, the second time they played.
Right. Oh, by the way, the Vikings this Sunday are wearing their throwback uniforms. It'll be
they're also underdogs.
Yeah, they're like 2.5-point underdogs. So, and they also will.
Wish they would have worn them last week.
Well, yeah, but it's alumni weekend, and Bobby Bryant's going into the Ring of Honor.
I wish they would have done that last weekend, so I could see all that.
So, but yeah, so I mean, there ain't a whole lot of history with us in Houston, so
yeah,
not with the Houston Texans, but I mean, I wanted to ask you, how hot was it in that stadium Sunday?
It wasn't.
I heard some people say it was.
Wasn't for me.
Wasn't? Okay, because some people said it was really hot in there.
I noticed the sun. the sun was coming through the roof,
Right.
so it was cold for some people. People said the pregame was cold, was warm too, but not for me because
Yes,
I'm used to the heat though.
you're used to the heat, but it's been humid the last few days. It was even that's our humidity when you were here. So, but yeah, a lot of people did say that it was it was hot in there. I noticed it with the players because they were really sweating more so than usual,
We sweating to the oldies.
you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this weekend's basically alumni weekend, and hell, you got Hunter and Diggs and Boyd and Akers and Keenum coming back, so so it's going to be interesting.
For them, they got
I think the
Grenard.
Vikings win.
They got
I actually,
Grenard.
and
Grenard's
Grenard and Cashman.
yeah.
So I think the Vikings win. I think they pull it out.
Well, a lot of people don't think so.
Oh, the national media doesn't. Vegas doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I think that's not the Sharks. I think the Sharks are putting the money in the other way.
Well, also too, they're only giving them 2.5 points.
It was 3.5.
The
line started at 3.5.
It's dropped now to 2.
Yeah.
I guess a couple of players aren't playing.
All Viking players that were on the injury list, they're all playing except for Matt Addison's a game time decision.
Addison's another game time decision?
Yeah, but everybody else is playing.
He's probably not playing.
He said it's 50-50 that he plays.
We don't know if Mixon's playing for the –
I think he's out.
Yeah, I think Mixon's out. I think one of the receivers is out too.
I know we lost our tight end, though.
No major loss.
He's a good run blocker.
Yeah, but, I mean, he didn't get on the field that much anyway. He can play fullback. That's another thing.
Yeah, it's awesome going to a game, but you also miss a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I went to a preseason game. That's enough for me. I'm not much on crowds anyway, but I do want to check out a regular season game. But then you miss a lot,
And we had pretty good seats too. Our seats
upper level or lower level?
219.
Okay.
So we were in the end zone with JJ's touchdown and Naylor's touchdown.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
It wasn't that expensive. I mean, I got my souvenir cup. And and they had Diet Mountain Dew at the stadium, so that's a win-win.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be there next year too when they do the Skull Fest. So
I could go to a game this year. I could just find a cheap ticket. And they're all, especially later in the year, and if the team tanks, then
the cheapest tickets I saw on StubHub was like $70, but it was way up on top. So if you have vertigo,
yeah. See, with me, I'd walk around or I'd find a place to stand because you got places to stand to watch the game.
When I enter the stadium, you're the guy who does the doom and we do the skull.
Yeah, the drum. Yeah.
I pulled my camera out and I'm watching the whole thing, and I forgot to hit record.
Oh my god. Oh, not good. Yeah, so if I go, it'll be later in the year.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's put it this way: after this game, we go to Lambeau Field.
And then the Jets, then the bye.
Yeah, so the bye comes at a good time. One thing you'll notice about this Viking team, I noticed it. They're physical. They're actually physical this year. In 2 games, they're actually more physical than they have been. I have noticed that.
Well, not according to some people. Who was it? Kyle Long on CBS said that our defense is better coached than the Bears, but we're not as physical.
Okay, I wasn't impressed with the Bears' defense against the Texans. I really wasn't. Kyle Long said that?
I believe he's the one who's on CBS.
Didn't Kyle Long play for the Bears?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So he gets more Bears intel than he gets Viking intel. So whatever, dude.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's talking about JT Stroud. If Brock Purdy has played the 49ers 2 years in a row, then why do people think that TJ Stroud's not going to struggle against that Vikings front?
Because CJ Stroud's a hell of a lot more mobile than Purdy.
Yeah, but he can't. He's not as when it comes to like playing and reading the keys and stuff like that. He's not as good.
He actually can. That's the scary part. He can move out of the pocket, and he's actually pretty accurate on the move.
Right, but as far as like reading who's blitzing, who's not, that's what's so hard about the Vikings defense. You don't know who's coming.
But I mean, he's going to have intel because he's got Hunter, who was there last year with Flores. So,
well, the Vikings are going to have that with Cashman and.
We got that with Cashman and with who's the other Texan we got? Renard.
Yeah.
Renard. So
and then I don't know. It's going to be because I don't think the Texans' offensive line is good as San Fran's.
They're not, especially the interior. That offensive line is not very good at all. Outside of Tunsil, that offensive line is average. And I don't know who lines up on for sure, Grenard. You'll also see Patrick Jones line up on it too. But Patrick Jones handled Trent Williams last week.
Yeah.
He got 2 sacks off of Trent Williams. So,
well, only one offensive lineman got accredited with a sack. So I guess for the other sacks, were free rushers. I don't know.
Well, Cashman was a free rusher.
Right, no, but I'm saying the 49ers, offensive lineman for the Vikings, only Darius saw that one sack he gave up to Bosa. That was the only sack accredited to an offensive lineman.
Well, I think fucking Ingram should have got one too because he ran into Darnold, which caused Bosa to sack him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he went from stepping on feet to knocking him down.
Now he's knocking down his own players. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He still has a gig. So.
Well,
but yeah, that Texans and defensively outside of Hunter and Will Anderson on the edges, I'd run the ball at them. I would run the ball at them. So
I don't know because I already keep saying the Texans are a far better team, but are they really?
No, they're not.
So
they're not because you look at who they played. They beat the Colts by 2, but it seems like the Colts can't get it together on offense. And they beat a Bears offense that doesn't matter who they put a quarterback, it's still the Bears. So they haven't really faced. I mean, now I'm going to give Kevin O'Connell cred. O'Connell knows how to call plays.
Our only issue with Kevin O'Connell was his play calling. and the team coming out flat. It seems like both of those are resolved.
Yeah, they're coming
And
out.
that's a sign. And that's a sign of a good coach.
Yeah, that's so. You have to ask yourself what changed, and I think what changed was Brian Flores got in his ear.
Yeah.
I think that's what changed. I think Brian told him, "Don't be scared to run the ball, because guess what? If you got a young quarterback, you're going to need a running game."
And the rumor is that someone is already starting to become a problem because he's not getting enough targets.
Would his name happen to be Diggs
Maybe
for the Texans or for the Vikings?
for the Texans.
That's Diggs.
Yeah.
It's Diggs. He bitched
Yeah.
and moaned in the first game against the
Right.
Colts.
And then Nico got twice as many targets as he did this last game.
Yeah, and usually when that happens, that means they complained the week before.
Yeah.
See, if there's anything that could screw with CJ Stroud's development, it could be Diggs.
A malcontent.
Now, here's the thing, too. Diggs coming back to play his former team in their home stadium, Diggs is going to want to show out, right? So he's going to beg for the ball. He is going to beg for the ball. So if he doesn't get the ball and things go south, he will be on the sidelines bitching and moaning.
Yeah, it's all these people talking about the Texans defense. Yeah, their cornerbacks are kind of good, Stingley and all that, but you still cannot cover JJ 1-on-1. And I heard that's what they're going to try to do.
Then that means, because I think Addison's out.
Well, he's 50-50.
No, he's out. He's not going to play. He's not going to play. I think that means Naylor's got to step up. Powell's got to step up. Whoever else they bring up has to step up. Maybe Lucky Jackson comes up.
Well, as Justin Jefferson said, even when I'm double covered, I'm open.
So good luck covering him, double covering him. He's still going to make plays. He's still going to make plays. Here's the thing: if they're worried about stopping JJ, okay, fine. All you've done now is, because guess what? We've got a running back named Aaron Jones who can not only run the ball, he can catch the ball. So guess what? Now you're going to have to work, because I think Aaron Jones will be the difference. Him and Ty Chandler both. So we will see what happens, but I think the Vikings pull it out. And I think the Vikings pull it out, and it's probably not as close as everybody thinks it will.
All right. Are you did you do the streaming Sunday for the game? Okay.
No, I watched the game with Trisha. She watched the game with me. We talked on the phone watching the game.
Okay.
And so I watched that, and then we watched the second game and the Sunday night game. And then
you watched the Monday Nighter?
We did watch the Monday Nighter. Well, put it this way, we stayed awake for the Monday Nighter, but
did her attitude change towards Cut?
No, she still hates him. No, she still wants really.
That was the Eagles lost it more than they won it.
Eagles lost it more than Kirk won it. They lost him more than Kirk won it. So, and then they got to play. She's not happy because now they got to play the Chiefs this week on national TV. So it's a home game, but it could get ugly. I'm going to be sweating through my game with the Texans. So,
I know they. What week did they play? Like 12 or something?
It's in November. It is November or December. Hold on. December 8th, week 14.
Okay.
It's part of a 3-game homestand with Arizona, Atlanta, and Chicago on Monday night.
Well, looks like the Arizona game's going to be the toughest one of those 3 now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Say the Vikings even play a tough game on Sunday. Say they win, okay? The next week is Green Bay. Love is going to play. I knew they were going to put Love out there. Love is going to play, which I think the Vikings beat them. And then we go to London to face the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
This team, if they win on Sunday, could possibly be 5-1 at their bye, 5-0 at their bye week.
Because Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers.
No, Aaron Rodgers does not. Now, coming out of the bye, they got a 3-game stretch against home to Detroit in L.A. and home to the Colts.
Detroit is the toughest game of those 3 because the Rams are decimated by injuries. And the Colts are not.
And the Colts just look off. You know what, though? I'm not even worried about the Lions. Especially when they got an idiot for a coach like Dan Campbell. What the hell was he doing Sunday?
I didn't watch the game, obviously.
Oh, what's his name? Got 4.5 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson, and they still lost. You know? I ain't gonna lie. This Viking schedule, now that I look at it.
Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, they lost to Tampa Bay. We thought some people had us at maybe 5 wins, 4 wins. We're catching teams at a time where they got a lot. They're not playing their best ball.
I never thought that they would only get 5 wins.
I said they could get between 7 and 10. I think they get 10 wins. I'm going to go with that. I think they get 10 wins. And 10 wins is enough to make it to the playoffs. 10-7 still gets you in the playoffs.
Well, it depends on what Jared Goff's how he plays. Yeah. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because I don't think any of these teams are as good as we thought.
Lions aren't as good as they were last year. They weren't. They were not as good. Yeah, they'll be tough. But trust me, Campbell will make a coaching decision that you're going to scratch your head about it. It'll cost his team.
They're going to run.
Which they should be doing anyway. They got the 2 running backs to run the ball.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on with the Rams. I think Stafford should hang it up, honestly. And then we still got to go. We still got to play Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Chicago, and all them.
I'm trying to think who the best quarterback is we play.
That we're gonna face?
Yeah.
Let's see. Going down the line.
Cousins.
Not even. Kyler Murray.
Let's see. Who do they play this year?
We already beat Purdy. We beat Daniel Jones. We're playing Stroud Sunday.
Stroud's probably the best.
Stroud is probably the best one. Then we got Jordan Love, but he's coming off an injury. We got an aging Aaron Rodgers.
AR-15.
Yes, we got Goff.
And we got
Stafford. We got Lawrence, who looks like trash.
Will Levis.
Caleb Williams. If Caleb makes it the whole season, who knows? Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins. Who's quarterback in Seattle? Is that Geno?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, barring injuries and they play consistent, 10 wins is not out of the picture.
So, out of all those quarterbacks, with the way Sam Darnold is playing right now, who's better?
Out of quarterbacks that we mentioned,
yeah,
who's better?
Right,
C.J. Stroud.
Okay. And then what about Gino?
Gino's a steady veteran. I give him that much.
Yeah.
So he is a good quarterback. If for veteran leadership, that's a good guy to have, Gino. But the rest of these quarterbacks, including Goff, including Love, don't really do anything for me. Especially with Love coming off an injury now. You know, how's he mentally going to play?
Yeah. Let me see. Well, if other teams get injuries, then it's pretty much,
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to get injuries. Hopefully no major injuries.
Well, hopefully not to Darnold. I never thought I'd say that.
Right. But if you keep Ed Ingram in there, a friggin' right guard, anything's possible. Shit.
That is really weird because if you would have said at the beginning of the season that Sam Darnold would probably be one of the best quarterbacks in each matchup, they would have told you were crazy.
So, and now let me put to my prediction. When I said the Vikings win 10 games, I also figured that J.J. McCarthy would be starting at some time this year.
Yeah.
When I said that. So
yeah, Breezy, we know it's only week 2, but
yeah, there's still a lot of football left.
We know that Darnold is probably going to cost us one game. We know that. It's just history, but what game is that? We don't know. Did you think the Vikings played down to their competition, but they didn't do that in the first 2 games? Like they blew out the Giants. They instead of winning like 16-13 in an ugly game.
Yes, Sarah, you can get a compliment for KLC.
You missed it earlier.
I did compliment him earlier, but I was just going to compliment him again.
Yeah. I've been eating ice cream the whole show, so
yeah,
I'm done now.
So yeah, I have complimented him. I mean, this year I got to give him credit. He's come out. He's been more aggressive with his play calling. The team looks better prepared. They start out faster. I'll put that much out there.
And they don't have those third quarter lulls.
They don't have the lulls, so that's changed. He's running the ball.
I got to tell you, it was at that game. There was the NFL.com guy who does the power rankings. I put in the comments, tell me you didn't watch the game without telling me you didn't watch the game. He goes, well, the 49ers are still number 2 in the power rankings because they lost a close one in Minnesota. I don't know what fucking game you're watching. That was not a close game.
No. Here's the thing. The only reason it was close was because Warner had the interception and he caused the fumble.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, that game's a blowout.
Yeah, because they scored 23, so it was 37-17.
Yeah, it would have been a blowout. And okay, here's another thing too. If the 49ers are such a great team, what the hell is wrong with Shanahan? He's got it. You had a field goal. Take the damn points. It's a close game. You're down there. Your kicker can't make a 21-yard field goal? Come on. In a close game like what they had Sunday, take the damn points. Take the points. 3 points is better than no points, which is what he had to deal with. And then Minnesota turns it right around and scores a touchdown.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they went for it on 4th and 2 because that kind of changed the momentum of the game as well.
Yeah, Breezy, the Vikings did. The Vikings came out and they took it to them. The Vikings were physical.
Never trailed in the game.
Yeah, the Vikings were physical, and they did not expect that. I mean, they were literally hitting the 49ers in the mouth, and the 49ers had no answer for it. When they said it was a 12-round fight, the Vikings came out swinging and stunned the Niners. And they never recovered from that. And they hit them early, and they hit them often. So
I mean, they even beat them with when Justin Jefferson was out. So
Yeah.
they had Naylor, they had Tristan Jackson, and they had Brandon Powell as their three receivers. And Darnold still drove them down the field.
And how clutch is, and when he to end that last drive where he needed those plays, it was players that stepped up that you would not expect. The Nailers. What? Who else caught passes on that drive? Johnny Mund,
Yeah.
Naylor, Brandon Powell, and those were all key catches and kept the drive alive, ate up time off the clock. That's another one too. The Vikings took a lot of time off the clock. They played ball control.
Yeah.
That's a change too. See, KOC has done little things this year that a coach should be doing that he didn't do his first 2 years, but you can kind of tell maybe somebody got in his ear, maybe Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Or maybe he finally realizes that whatever happens, I don't have that anchor at quarterback that I had, so I can coach differently. I can open up my playbook. I can finally run this team the way I want to run it. He doesn't have the anchor. So anything's possible, but him doing what he has done by running the ball, that helps the offense immensely. And he's got two running backs that are getting 5 yards, have 5-yard averages, both Jones and Chandler. And it's early. Yes, it's early. But at least we're talking about positives at 2-0 instead of talking out a bunch of negatives at 1-1 or 0-2, which many people had us at either 1-1 or 0-2.
Well, no, the 10 carries for Chai Chandler for 82 yards.
Yeah.
That's 8.2.
Yeah, 82 yards.
Yeah.
You know, that tells you right there. I mean, you have non-starters that are contributing early. They have to keep it up all year, and barring injury, hopefully they do. Now, you're going to have games that are going to be tough. Okay, that's going to happen. As long as you keep your composure in those games, anything's possible. Will we lose a few? Probably. Will we win some? Definitely. But if we're playing a team and we're far superior than them this year, like we did the Giants, everybody expected the Giants to kick our ass. We went into New Jersey and kicked their ass.
Yeah, there was people who picked the Giants to beat us. I never got that.
Yeah. So, and yes, it's early. It's very early. Like I told people, because you're starting offenses usually don't play in preseason like they used to. It takes the offensive unit to gel maybe a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden they let loose. But defenses right now are ahead of offenses, but still, Shanahan called a terrible game last week. And also, Brock Purdy, whatever Flores was doing, confused the hell out of him, which is another thing too. So, but yeah, you got to keep it up. You can't let up. But you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. You got to keep your composure. You got to stay the course. Don't get too fancy. And hopefully KOC follows that model, which I think he has. I think he's grown as a head coach, to be honest.
Well, he still gets credit for being. Everyone ever talks about the Vikings. They're talking about how the big how good the coaches is on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
and people can say they have the best coaching staff in the league. Are one of the best. So.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, I don't think KOC is going to put Darnold in a spot to lose the game. I don't think he is. I honestly don't know what it was with the former guy. That it's the game plan. You had to put, the game plan for him is completely different than Darnold, but Darnold can do some things that the other guy can't, and vice versa.
Like that run he had against the Niners.
Yeah.
Cousins would never do that.
No, Cousins would have
That ball would have been either thrown away or he would have been sacked because he held on to it long trying to find somebody open.
Yeah, Cousins would have been sacked or thrown away or whatever. And they would have had a bunch of strip sacks on his ass too.
Yeah.
But I mean, Darnold, KLC can kind of open up that playbook. But also what's helping Darnold is that KLC's running the ball. That's the most important thing. He's running the ball.
I know we killed him last year for running the ball, but it seems to me maybe it was more of a talent thing.
Okay, so here's the thing I got about last year. If you knew Madison wasn't the answer, why'd you sign him? Why'd you bring him back?
Maybe they thought, and then they realized as the season went on, he wasn't no good. Kevin O'Connell said today that they wanted Chandler to be the starter last year, but he didn't pick up I guess he didn't pick it. It didn't click. Well,
You know what? Usually when they say that, see, this is where I got to ask my guy about this because when he says something like that, it doesn't mesh. You're the head coach, right? But KLC's a head coach. He should just start him anyway. Why are you're throwing something in there to not start him? To me, somebody was in his ear. And that somebody was management. And that somebody was not crazy.
They probably said, hey, we re-signed this guy. You need to start him.
Right. It was the Three Stooges. I'll just call them the Three Stooges. They're the ones that got in his ear. So that's the whole thing. I'm just like, and I know that when Kevin came in, he just wanted to coach. He just wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
But if you, as a head coach, you see something that's not working, you have the right to change that game plan whenever you want. But he was saddled with, now I'm just going to say it, he was saddled with anchors that probably hindered him play calling and team-wise. It's hard to say. There's so much politics behind the scene.
An anchor at quarterback and running back.
An anchor at quarterback and running back, yes. Because
after watching Sam Darnold, while he may not be as consistent as Cousins, they have around the same talent. Darnold may even have more.
Darnold's younger. Darnold's never had weapons either. Darnold now has weapons. Yeah. He's never had an offensive-minded coach either. Now he's got an offensive-minded coach. And the guy that's the offensive mind also played quarterback. So that's kind of like the perfect world for Darnold. It's like a perfect start. Could Darnold get this team to the playoffs? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Barring injuries, this team should be okay. We're going to have players that are going to get hurt. Hopefully nothing major. Hopefully we're healthy for the rest of the year. That's the whole thing. So we'll see what happens. But, I mean, Darnold, they're basically playing with house money with Darnold, And if Darnold – now, see, here's the thing, too. If Darnold balls out this year, he's getting a payday next year. Maybe not with the Vikings, which it's not going to be with the Vikings.
I think JJ's a starter no matter what.
So, yeah, JJ's going to start. You didn't draft JJ to sit. You drafted him to start. JJ's going to be the start. And I'm going to be honest with you, they probably don't lose a beat with JJ. I can almost guarantee they don't lose a beat. Darnold will get paid. So some team is going to pay him big time money if he has a good year this year. And keep your fingers crossed, Viking fans. I mean, the schedule at the beginning of the year looked like it was going to be like just this friggin' like just a hell of a schedule. Every week was going to be a grind. Now, seeing these teams early, and of course, we don't know what happens in the middle of the year, but right now the schedule looks pretty manageable.
That's why you can never go by. That's why you can never go by like last season.
No, it's a new year.
It's
a new year.
You can say, "Oh yeah, the schedule looks tough," but you really don't know.
Yeah,
you have no clue how teams are going to play the next year.
Yep.
So that's the big like. Did you think the Colts were going to be this bad so far? No, I didn't.
I didn't either. And I thought with AR-15 coming back, I thought they'd be all right.
Yeah.
I really did. I didn't watch the Packer game because it's the Packers. I don't care. But I didn't see them starting 0-2. I had them actually beating the Packers.
I mean, they ran 53 times.
How do you run 53 times with Taylor and whoever and you don't win?
No. The Packers ran 53 times.
Oh, with Josh and
they knew the Packers were going to run the ball because they don't want Willis doing anything. So and they lost Buckner too.
Who they lose?
The Colts lost Buckner, their defensive tackle.
Oh, Buckner got hurt?
Yeah. He's on IL.
He's on IR?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Now that's a big hole.
Short term.
Yeah.
So
that's a big hole.
So he'll probably be back for the Vikings game, but that's the game that he's supposed to come back.
Right.
So how good is he going to be?
Right. So, I'll go back to Breezy's question.
I know we're talking a lot about we don't see a Vikings loss. We do know the Vikings are going to lose a game.
They're going to lose a game, or they're going to lose some games.
They should lose. They're going to lose a game that they have no business losing because that's what the Vikings do. Like who knows? Like the Tennessee game, Will Levis have his best game ever. They could lose that game. I'm just saying, but they are definitely going to have a better record than most people thought.
Yeah, 10-7 looks realistic now.
Yeah,
10-7 looks realistic.
What question for Breezy? That one?
Oh, with Flores. Breezy, here's the thing with the lawsuit. The lawsuit, if they were really going to push that thing, they'd have did something by now. That lawsuit's, if he's a good coach, and he is a good coach, somebody will hire him regardless. That lawsuit could put the league in a bad light. In a real bad light. And it also puts Stephen Ross in a bad light. And
he's not liked. Even in Miami, people don't like him.
Right. And now here's the thing too. With what we saw that's happened with Tua, was Flores wrong? You got to think about that.
Yeah.
Flores is going to get looks as a head coach.
McDaniel says he's not coming back until he's ready.
Josh McDaniel?
No, the head coach of the Dolphins.
Oh, McDaniel's going to lose his job.
Because he said, I care more about his health than anything else.
If you care more about his health, talk him into retiring. If you care about his health, talk him into retiring. Bottom line. And now with Tua's injury problems, Flores looks smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that, Sarah. I believe that. McDaniel's going to get the axe there. I don't know who's their backup now. Who's their quarterback now? Skylar Thompson?
Yeah.
All right. So
you may have a reunion with
Tannehill. You think so? You think Tannehill will go back though?
I don't know. It's the job, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, if Flores keeps his success this year, last year we had what were we in the defense? 16th?
Yeah.
If he moves that defense up to top 12, he's gonna get a head coaching gig. He is gonna get a head coaching gig. You got to look at teams.
I don't know if I want that.
You can't stop it.
For selfish reasons.
For selfish reasons, I don't want it either. But but I think you got to kind of look at the teams that may be looking for a head coach, and the first one that comes to mind, I'm sorry, Carolina.
You know what though? They're not going to get someone who's been a coach before. They're not going to get someone who they're going to get someone who has been like stuck in college football and has always wanted to go pro and never got an opportunity.
And that's stupid.
But that's what they're going to get because nobody.
And that's you know why? That's because they got an owner that nobody
Right.
likes, and he's dumb as a box of friggin' rocks.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Nobody wants that
Nobody.
job.
David Tepper has bought that team and has made it so unattractive that nobody wants it. They're going to hire a high school coach to take that team to be the head coach one of these days.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones that will take the gig. That is so bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be someone like Bo Pelini. I'm not saying it's Bo Pelini himself. I'm saying, but someone like Bo Pelini who's been in college football forever, and they want to try the NFL. You know, maybe someone will take the job for a couple of years just to get that NFL paycheck.
Still,
I don't think anybody wants that job. I mean, I know we're saying nobody wants that job. Obviously, somebody will take that job because coach is coach. That's what they do.
well, they found somebody who's nobody's ever heard of to take the job.
Yeah.
So, but
And that coach is like, I can turn this around.
They probably sold him a bill of goods.
Or they'll get someone like Belichick, and Belichick will say, leave all the football to me. You just run the team as a franchise.
Okay.
Leave everything to me.
Here's the thing.
Football-wise.
With Belichick's age, would you bring him in?
If I was the Panthers, yes.
Okay, he's not going to go to the Panthers. He's going to the Jets.
But I'm saying, though, you need someone like that to take over the Panthers.
He might go. Belichick
the owner,
has a choice. Belichick is probably either going to go Jets or Giants. I think he might go to the Giants. Dable's gone. I'm watching. I still, for some reason, on YouTube, I still get all the after talk shows for the Giants games.
Yeah,
they're ready to get rid of Dable right now. And he can take Daniel Jones with him. But I mean, yeah, Belichick started with the Giants, so I could see him ending with the Giants. He's not.
I don't know if he'll go back to the Jets because wasn't he the head coach of the Jets for a day and then left?
Yeah.
Did he do the same thing with Josh McDaniels did?
Yeah, that's true. That is
true. He does go to New York team and be the Giants. But he's a Parcells guy too, ain't he?
He's a Parcells guy, and Parcells are with both teams. So
yeah,
George Young. What happened with Carolina? I think Carolina probably stunted his growth, and probably
I don't blame Chase Young for failing in Carolina at all. I don't
blame Bryce at all for that. I mean, the poor kid, he never had a chance. You know, he probably doesn't.
Okay, put it this way: if Bryce Young got drafted by the Vikings, do you think he would have got benched?
Oh, if he was drafted by the Vikings?
Yeah.
No. But
coaching matters.
But who would be his head coach?
Still KOC.
No, matter of fact, KOC would put an offense around him that worked for him.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
So that's why I'm saying it. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are the two quarterbacks that show coaching matters.
And how
because
bad
Baker Mayfield was sucked, right? What happened? He went to the Rams. He finished his season, pretty much took him to the playoffs, right?
Then he went to
Tampa, who also had somebody on their staff from the Rams.
Yep.
And look at him now. Coaching matters.
Oh, yeah, Breezy, Geno Smith, too. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. Coaching matters.
Bob Swede, Elway and Manning were two, but there was another one.
Bosa, I didn't see it, was it?
Huh? There was another one that was drafted by somebody and they didn't go. Yeah, Manning was drafted by the Chargers.
Eli Manning was drafted by the Giants, drafted by the Chargers, traded to the Giants.
For Phillip Rivers.
Right. And then Elway was going to play baseball.
Elway was good. Elway was drafted.
It was smart, though. He knew the Colts were a dumpster franchise. Franchise.
Colts were bad. And then the Colts actually traded him to Denver, and the Colts got back Chris Hinton, the tackle.
Right.
So
you can technically say Joe Namath is another one.
Well, yeah, but Namath was drafted by two teams. He was drafted by two leagues. So instead of signing with the Cardinals, which, hell, I'd have went to New York too.
Yeah.
Without the Cadillac.
Yeah.
I'd have went to New York too without the Cadillac. So, but yeah, I mean, oh my God. And the shit I gave KOC a lot of shit last year because there were some things I saw. This year, he's kind of remedied him in 2 weeks.
Now, I wasn't watching the game at home. I was in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
The catch that Deebo Samuel made on the sideline
It wasn't a catch.
From the stadium, it looked like his heel was on the white.
That wasn't a catch. They gave it to him.
And then on the fourth quarter, when the 49ers scored their last touchdown, ball thrown to the 6-yard line. That looked like that was dropped as well.
That was dropped. They gave it to him. That was dropped. Okay, now I got a question here. You're the Niners. You saw what Van Ginkel did the week before against the Giants with that flat pass, right?
Yeah.
And you turn around and throw the same damn thing, and he almost does the same damn thing. To me, that's bad coaching. I'm sorry. That's just bad coaching. First of all, don't run that play down at the goal line. You had Mason run the damn ball.
Yeah, we said that when we were in the stands.
I'm just like, last Sunday, Shanahan was really the reason the Niners lost. It was Shanahan. His play calling.
Well, did you see what Brock Purdy did after the game?
Well, he did go up to Flores and tell Flores his
Right.
freaking defense was.
Yeah, your teams are crazy, man.
Yeah, teams were crazy. But this is why I don't understand how. This is the thing with Shanahan. He's like a second-generation coach living off his dad's name, but besides, here's the thing. Lynch built that team for him to succeed, right? With those players. He ain't really succeeded. He's lost 2 out of 3 Super Bowls. I mean,
He has done that too, though.
At least he got there.
Yeah.
But you got to start asking questions. And then Sunday, he just it always bugs me when you're down near at the goal line, you don't get it on 4th down, you're in field goal range, take some sort of points, and you don't. And then you pay for it when he turned around, when Darnold, of all people, Darnold is the one that threw a perfect pass to JJ.
It was not underthrown.
It wasn't underthrown. It was perfect. He did that 2 weeks in a row now with JJ. Yeah. Perfect pass.
Well, and the throw to Naylor was perfect too. Even though he was wide ass open, it was still perfect.
Right. It could what's his name have put the ball there? I don't know. I really don't know.
Well,
you know what though? I'm going to tell you this.
Well, the one thing Cousins does do well is throw the deep ball. But would he see if you watch that play, you have you got JJ running the seam.
Right? Yeah.
And then you have Naylor running the out. And now Naylor cut the out off probably 15 yards before JJ caught that pass.
Okay, now I got another question for you.
Naylor was wide open.
Yeah.
Cousins would have thrown it to Naylor.
Cousins was throwing it to Naylor. He would have thrown it to Naylor.
Yeah.
Was anybody impressed with the fact of not only how fast Naylor was, but how fast that official was that was keeping the play?
That's what everybody was talking about. That's what everybody was talking about was that ref.
That referee was
swings his hip. Then he swings his hip, gets his hips in perfect position.
And it's like that. It's like that cartoon where dude's running super fast, and all of a sudden, here comes somebody out of the blue.
Yeah.
Just running, and all of a sudden, here's Naylor.
Yeah. Naylor was so good. Naylor was like, JJ's pretty fast.
Yeah.
And Naylor. Now, did that? But Naylor's hustle. I don't know if JJ scores.
No, JJ would have scored. JJ would have scored because Naylor got down there, and I think what happened was
he kind of got in his way.
He kind of got in the DB's way.
Yeah,
but JJ would have scored. Yeah, JJ would have.
But this is what they were saying is if Naylor stays healthy, he's good. He's just got to stay healthy.
He's got to stay healthy. By the way, he's playing for. I think he's playing for a contract.
Well, yeah. Well, if Addison's hurt, he's starting again.
Addison, oh, and it's not the one that he hurt in preseason. Now this is his other ankle.
His other one, yeah.
So he's got to. Oh, by the way, the play that Addison got hurt on against the Giants, right? The player that tackled him was fined for the hip drop tackle.
They just didn't call it during the game.
They didn't call it during the game, but he did get fined for it later in the week. So I don't know if they're going to call it. I don't know if the referees can really call it in the game because, plays happen so fast. But, yeah, the player that made the tackle was fined like $10,000.
Well, depending on where you're at, $10,000 is $10 or it's a lot of your money, depending on where you're at.
Right, depending on what you're –
Practice squad players make a pretty good living.
Yeah, they do.
It's like I think they undrafted for I think like a UDFA.
You get $1 million.
That's on the practice squad. I think they get 70. I think they get 70,000.
They get more than that. It goes up every year.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying your first year, you make like 70 grand for that.
You sure it ain't 700 grand?
No, because the veterans. That's what the veteran is.
Veterans minimum is $1 million.
No, veterans minimum is like 9.7 hundred,000 or something like that.
Huh.
So.
Yeah, but that goes up every year. I mean, they got money to throw away. So.
Yeah.
If it's a gig, take it. Shit.
Like $70,000 for what? 6 months of work.
And remember, $70,000 back in the day was hell. Teams didn't want to pay that.
Well, $70,000 is not a lot of money today, but the teams have so much money now.
And the thing, motherfuckers bitched about Joe Namath when he got 400.
Yeah.
And the Cadillac.
And a Cadillac.
And the Cadillac.
Jet green with a white nylon top.
Yep.
He still has it too.
Yep.
He
still has it?
I delivered to his house and he still had it in his garage. He had his garage door open and it was sitting right there.
Wow.
Just he lives where I'm from.
Oh, Miami?
No,
down in Florida?
He lives in Jupiter.
Really?
Jupiter / DeQuesta. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His house is on the water.
Okay. That's what I figured.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. Hawkins,
like you open his front door, you look straight through his house, like the back wall is nothing but glass, and you see.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez. He didn't have. Oh, besides winning a Super Bowl, he kind of had an average career.
But he made a lot of endorsement money.
He made a lot of endorsement money and movie money. So
movie money, yep.
But his knees were the problem. His arm was still alive, but
he could play quarterback today with his arm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I mean, he could have made big money now. So, and he was on Monday Night Football there for a minute.
Well, did he?
Him and
well,
OJ.
the funny thing is, Susie Colbert, the one he said, "I want to kiss you," which I think a lot of people want to do that. But
yeah, I ain't gonna fault him there.
But she used to work at Channel 12, which is the local CBS station in West Palm Beach, which would be the station that he would watch living in DeQuesta.
Hey, can you pull up questions? Breezy's got one here. He had a question. That one. There's quite a few.
Well, my issue with the Hall of Fame is unfortunately it's like a team. If you played on a great team, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. So, like, look at Michael Irvin's numbers compared to some of the receivers in the Hall of Fame and some of the receivers that are not in the Hall of Fame. Michael Irvin is a Hall of Famer because he won 3 Super Bowls. Plain and simple. That is it. his numbers are trash.
It also helps he's in the media.
Yeah. Emmett Smith and Troy Aikman are the reason that those teams won.
Yep.
Yeah, did Michael Irvin contribute? Sure. But he's not a Hall of
I
Famer.
thought Alvin Harper was better.
So
I thought Alvin Harper was better.
So there's one. There's probably a couple of Packers you don't belong.
Joe Namath. Only reason Joe Namath is in there is because he won a Super Bowl. Let's be honest. Yeah. The only reason I'm going to say it, but the only reason Steve Mongo McMichael got in there this year is because of his health status.
Yeah.
But technically, his numbers were no different than Jim Marshall's. We're no different than Gary Larson's. We're no different than a lot of guys that played his position. L.C. Greenwood, guys like that. So, and they're not in. So, but he was a damn good player, but he got in because of his health condition. Oh, God. There's quite a few that are in there for mediocre play. And 9 times out of 10, it's what team they were on.
Yeah.
George, thoughts on the Saints? I don't have any. Still don't like them. Kamara, though, he's an all-pro. You know? And, of course, they run up all those points on Zimmer's defense. You know? Yeah, that's true. Dallas is in playoff form. Yeah, you know what? My girl's not. She wasn't. She was glad they got the win, but she wasn't okay, we're back. Blah blah blah. She wasn't talking shit. She's like one game at a time because she's lived with me so many years. So,
Bob, this comment is kind of. I'm not going to say that their defense is not going to work. You got to remember, the offensive coordinator for the Saints is Clint Kubiak. So if anybody knows Zimmer's defense, it's Clint Kubiak. Yeah. So this might have. I hope it's not, but this was probably more than likely a one thing with the Cowboys because of who they played and how he knows the defense. But that goes back to what we always complained about with Zimmer. He doesn't make very.
But here's the thing, though. It ain't like Clint Kubiak's got Drew Brees at quarterback. It was Derek Carr.
Hey, there's been times when Derek Carr has played lights out for stretches of his career.
Were we not alive for it?
No, he had good games he had a good stretch with the Raiders. And then you gotta look at Sam Darnold right now. You know, we can't say he had Derek Carr. We have Sam Darnold. We're doing the same thing.
Well, Carr, I think, unfortunately, was with the Raiders, and the Raiders are just a dumpster fire. They just don't know what to do. So what is the best defense we have faced since 1980? Oh, well, honestly, all those Bear defenses we faced in the 80s.
The Bears defense, that's one thing the Bears have always been known for.
Yeah, it's not for
the monsters of the Midway. They're not talking about offense.
Well, they've always been known for linebackers, middle linebackers. Yeah. Bill George, Dick Butkus, Mike Singletary, Brian Urlacher. They've always had that tradition of great middle linebackers.
Was Briggs a middle linebacker?
No, Briggs was a left linebacker, outside linebacker. Yeah, he was an outside linebacker. Briggs was outside. Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall were outside. Doug Buffone was outside. Ed Obradovich was a defensive end. But, yeah, the best defense we faced since 80 was that Bear defense. And they were in our division, so we saw them twice a year. Other defenses, I mean, we faced that Giant defense. Actually, here's the thing. We played that 86 Giant defense blow for blow. And it was a heavyweight fight. And then a lapse in coverage allowed the Giants to convert a 4th and 17. It was Isaac Holt that gave up the big play. and the Giants won it by kicking a late field goal, but they only won it by 2 points. But they were the Viking defense was just as tough as the Giants were, but
Well, the Dome Patrol was pretty good until they faced the Vikings in the playoffs.
right. That Giant game though was screwed up because they high-lowed Keith Millard. They took Keith Millard out of the game. Millard missed like 3-4 weeks because of it. It was Tom Benson. It was Benson and Bart Oates. It was the same kind of hit where he ended his career, but
yeah,
they high-lowed him, which happened a lot to Millard because he was so quick off the ball. So,
other than that false start that he had,
yeah. The reason they traded Cleveland was technically Cleveland was going to get paid, but Cleveland had been known that he wanted to go back to tackle because he's a tackle.
He ain't playing tackle on this team.
He's playing guard in Jacksonville, so he moved back to tackle yet. We don't know what's going to happen because I don't know what happened to Jacksonville so far this year, but. The one you got to watch out. The one you got to keep an eye on is Ingram because Ingram is still the problem. Is Reisner the answer? I don't think so, but we'll see what happens.
Well, the Rams defense was pretty tough, wasn't it?
No,
because if Fearsome Foursome were around to what, 82, 83?
No, Fearsome Foursome were done in 70. Well, they were done as soon as they were done even before Merlin Olsen retired. They were done when they traded Deacon Jones. But Merlin Olsen played 4 or 5 years, but he still had.
Well, what about the Legion of Boom?
That was a secondary.
But wasn't the whole defense good though?
That front seven, the linebackers were. The D line wasn't the best. Remember, AP gouged them out for what 200 yards almost. You couldn't throw on them; they were going to hit you. That was the thing. That's why they were called the Legion of Boom, because if you were going to catch the ball, they were going to hit you. Trying to think, other teams that we played that had good defense. Packers had a good defense in the 90s with Reggie White and those guys. But we played them twice a year, so. But since the 2000s, hard to say.
Yeah.
Very hard to say.
Because
Breezy, who would I draft in the first round? I think I might take a guard or center.
It depends.
Yeah, D tackle is another one too. It would be in the trenches.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on how the draft breaks down, though.
Yeah.
Because Quasey will take BPA.
Yeah. And depending on, so you also have to keep this in mind too. Depending on how we finish this year, depending on if Brian Flores comes back, you could have a whole new. You could have a new defensive coordinator next year. So who knows? But I would be looking at the trenches.
Because safety, I think, is a position they probably don't touch unless they want a special teamers.
Right.
They may draft another corner, believe it or not, because our corners are old.
Well, you know what might happen? With the Vikings having all that money in free agency.
They may not, but they only have 4 picks anyway.
Yeah, they're probably going to get a bunch of free agents in here.
Yeah, depends on what tackles are there. It depends on what linebackers are there. It depends on what guards. I don't think you take a guard in the first round, so they may trade out. They may trade out. I don't know.
Sarah B-Flow might come back. I mean, they're going to have to pay him, but like I said earlier, lawsuit or no lawsuit, he's going to be looked at for a head coach.
Well, the Vikings have shown that they'll pay coaches.
True. It all depends.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe KOC wants to keep him here, so maybe he'll go to the front office, tell him, give him what he wants,
Yeah.
pay him. I want to keep him here. You know,
Pay him as much as what another team would pay him as a head coach.
right, right. Here's another thing. Maybe give him the assistant head coach tag instead of freaking Mike Pettin, because Pettin's the assistant head coach. Don't ask me how that happened, but he's the assistant head coach. I think it's because he's KOC's friend. But give B-Flow the assistant head coach tag.
Yeah.
That's true, Sarah. We're actually the ones that are hitting people now. We're actually dictating to them instead of them dictating to us. That's a big change I've seen this year, both sides of the ball. So
I just wonder what's going to happen next week.
you know what might happen? You probably get the game we were supposed to get with the Niners this week with the Texans.
Probably.
You probably get that. Keep an eye on the turnover battle too, because if this holds true, it doesn't always hold true, but when the Vikings are even in turnovers or are on the positive in turnovers under KOC, they win. So keep an eye on the turnovers. So Stroud doesn't make a lot of mistakes, though. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
I think we can go to him into an interception.
You can confuse him, I'm sure. He's going to get some looks he's never seen before. Flores will do that. But keep in mind, they also have guys that played on the team last year. Well, one guy, and that's Hunter. But
yeah, yeah, they. I'm trying to think here.
You know, but here's the thing. Okay, Stroud struggled against the Bear defense. True. But every player has that game. Stroud is the type that can bounce back and just light you up. He's not he's a different Ohio State quarterback. He went to Ohio State, right?
Stroud, yes.
Okay. And he breaks that Ohio State curse. So you got to contain him. Can't let him get outside the pocket because he does his best when he's on the move. Keep him in the pocket. The interior of the Texans line is not that good. So
yeah, that's the weakest of their defense.
Yeah, that's their weakest spot. You know what? Yeah, for the most part. They've actually played a complete game against the Giants.
And last week's game was not complete at all.
It wasn't wasn't bad. Turnovers were even though.
But that's not a perfect game. There's no such thing as playing a perfect game or complete game. There's always something you mess up on.
Right. And I mean, let's face it.
Frank
Warner
both of the turnovers were in the red zone though.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that saved him was Warner. But yeah. Warner is he's got all-pro talent. He's going to make plays. So I'm not even holding that against him. But when they had to score, they scored.
Yeah.
You know? And Warner's very good at punching the ball out. That's one of his strong points. So
yeah, he does a peanut punch.
Yeah, he punched it out. You know? But if the Vikings score on those two drives, which they were going to be clear touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Well, Jones is pretty much in the end zone.
Yeah.
Because that was right in front of me. So.
Yeah, he was. I mean, you know. Yeah, as a matter of fact, they drove 99 yards for that touchdown. So.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're the Niners. They went to the Super Bowl the year before. They're still a good team. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm always going to say there's no such thing as a complete or a perfect game. So
I think it's if you keep the. I mean, in all honesty, if you keep the turnovers to a minimum and the mistakes to a minimum and the penalties to a minimum, yeah, and then you can have a complete game. But I'll tell you what, that Bears Texans game, them friggin' referees were throwing flags every 2 plays. I mean, it got to be a joke with all the flags they were throwing.
let's see. I mean,
Yeah, Sarah,
Scott,
he did say he was going to make Knicks the next Drew Brees.
Bo picks.
Yeah. Instead, Knicks looks like right now he looks like Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
He looks bad. Knicks looks bad.
No rookie. I mean, Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, he's looked okay, but he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
Mm-mm.
So none of the rookie, quote unquote, rookie quarterbacks look good.
And none of them are. None of them are. Now, here's my question: what is going on in Cincinnati?
Well, they've started. They're Joe Burrow is one in.
They're 0-2.
Yeah, but since Burrow's been the starting quarterback, the first 2 weeks of the season, they're like 1-12 or something like that. Or so yeah, because he's been in the league 5 years, so they're 1-9. The first two games of the season since he's been.
I know Jamar Chase went off on somebody at the game.
Speaking of going off, by the way, okay, I want to say this, and I got shit from a lot of people, not necessarily you, but all this talk about Caleb going to the right team. Caleb has this weapon, that weapon. Okay, first of all, I said Keenan Allen is always hurt. And someone's like, well, he played this many games. Fuck you. Keenan Allen always fucking gets hurt. DJ Moore is not as good as people think he is. And they're like, oh, Roma Duze hasn't played a fucking down in the goddamn league until this year. And what has he done? He's done fuck all. So all you fucking people were saying, oh, no, the Bears have a good situation. No, they don't. And I knew this is what the Bears offense was going to look like. Why? Because Caleb Williams himself is trying to do shit that he did in college that he can't do in the NFL.
Oh, my God.
He's not a good quarterback yet. He may be one day, but right now he's not.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. People talking about how he's got all these weapons. He's got Roma Duze. He's got Keenan Allen. Yeah.
They were both in street clothes.
Yes.
Today.
Yes. And DJ Moore, he's frustrated.
Well, and I think they're frustrated by Caleb.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We all knew the defense was going to be good because Chicago's defense is always good. But
yeah, but Sarah, I heard about people say Caleb's ready to go right now. He doesn't need development.
Oh, they said he was a starter before they even had training camp.
Yeah. So he was already handed the reins, but
so yeah. So
and shit, we don't play the Bears till when?
Not for a while. Week 11.
We don't play
12.
the Bears till friggin' what?
Week
November?
11. Yeah, week 11 or 12, I think.
Damn.
I don't think it's going to matter. I still don't think Caleb Williams is going to. He's a Bears quarterback.
I don't think he's going to make.
When Jay Cutler is considered your best modern day quarterback, you have issues.
Oh my God. I think with Chicago, they're that place where quarterbacks go to basically end their career.
Yeah.
You know, it's just now here's a question: how long is Poles going to have his job?
Oh, because we know, I'm going to tear it down. Oh, we're taking the North. The North is ours. We're going to have the North forever.
Well, and also now
you guys are the Bears. You're good probably good every 6 years. You do something.
They're good more often than the
Right.
Lions.
So you're good probably every 6 years.
Yeah.
So you're good. The Vikings are bad. Maybe 1 year out of 7 is a bad year. The Packers are about the same. And the Lions, as you know, the Lions are the Lions.
Lions are Lions.
So it's always going to be the Vikings and Packers. So
Yeah, I mean, in the
there was a time where it was only the Vikings.
Yep.
Because every other team in the division was shite.
And at the division, it was weird because, okay, for a while it was the Packers. That was the 60s. 70s was the Vikings. 80s was the Bears. Guess who's never had the division for a decade?
Yeah. And you can say it was mostly the Vikings in the 90s, the Packers and Vikings in the 90s.
Packers and Vikings in the 90s.
Kind of
In
split.
the 2000s, it was Bears, Packers, and Vikings.
Yeah.
And the 2010s.
There's a theme going here.
Yeah. In the 2010s, it was the Packers. And if not the Packers, it was the Vikings.
Right.
Okay. Who's missing? I have literally talked about what have I talked about since the 60s? Oh, I've talked about 60 years of
the Vikings
NFL
franchise
football since the Viking franchise has been a team. Since Minnesota's had a franchise. And I've mentioned the Vikings, I've mentioned the Bears, and I've mentioned the Packers.
So basically what happens is the Lions have 2 good years every 30 years or so. Because 91 and 93, they were good. Before that, they were trash. After that, obviously, they were trash. So last year was a good year. So is this year going to be the next good year, or is the year after it? But that's going to be it.
Right. And, okay, already last week, Dan Campbell made another buffoon call because he's an idiot and cost the Lions the game. I thought they had a kicker this year. Once again, they were supposed to kick the ball and didn't kick it.
Well, there's only two kickers in the NFL that matter: Justin Tucker and Reichert. How nice is it to see an extra point go straight dead nuts down the middle?
Oh, you mean Little Willie?
And not have any anxiety at all about the kicker not making the extra point.
That's my name for Reichert. It's Little Willie. Okay, he's a kicker. Little Willie. That's his name. I am going to call him Little Willie. He's a kicker until he wins me a Super Bowl. If he wins me a Super Bowl, I will call him Will.
Big Willie style.
No, Little Willie, go home. So we'll see what happens. But, this is probably the most I felt comfortable with the kicker since never.
Yeah. Well, in 98.
And Breezy, the night train lane years, the Lions were competitive, but unfortunately that was the Packers' time.
Yep.
Because they also had Alex Karras too on defense. That defense was no joke in Detroit, but they unfortunately had the Packers. And then the year that the Packers were off, here come the Bears to win an NFL championship. Barry Sanders, they went to the championship with Barry Sanders, got shut out, but they had more bad years than good years.
Yep.
And with Megatron, same thing. It's just
Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson both retired early because of the way the fucking Lions franchise was run.
Because of the way the Lions were going, they both said, "I'm out of here." So. Yeah, and Spielman, Chris Spielman, Spielman was a much better player than Rick, but also Chris is actually a better football guy than Rick, too. Because Chris is helping build that Lions team. So, yeah, Chris was a stud. He ended up in Buffalo, but did he go to Miami, too, Spielman?
Rick Spielman, yes.
Chris Spielman?
No. I know Rick was the GM at Miami.
Rick was a GM in Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rick got cut by Shula. He got cut in '88 on the offensive line. Bob, which boss are you talking about? The Viking boss?
The boss. Talking about Bosworth?
Maybe he's talking about our GM. Hey, Bob, can you type in who you're got a bad feeling about? Oh, you're talking about a movie.
There's a movie called The Boss.
Was there an NFL player in the past that you were legit scared of? Yeah, LT. If I was playing in the NFL, Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor.
What do you mean by scare? Like scared of his ability, what he can do to you, or scared? Because I'm not scared of anybody.
I would have been scared of LT. If I had to block him, I'd have been scared of him.
Well, I'm saying, but that's by definition of the scared. Like, are you scared about his ability and all the shit that he can do? Is that what you're scared of, or are you just scared, just scared of himself? Because I'm not scared of nobody.
I'd go out there and not scared of nobody, but I don't want to face his ass because of his ability, because he could make me look bad. I would still give it my all. But if I know I don't have that, if I can't hang with him, especially a young Lawrence Taylor, Singletary, if I was a running back, I'd be trying to run away from him. Blocking him was not easy either. Most of your guys that were intense and intimidating and posing, your Ray Lewis's, your
Bill Romanowski's. Actually, I take that back. I take that back. Romanowski scares me because
there's an exception to every rule. Bill Romanowski would have been one of them.
He's so unhinged. You don't know what the hell that dude.
Yeah, he was so unhinged. I mean, you wouldn't know what you would get, but he was also roided up too.
Yeah.
Jack Lambert was somebody to be scared of. For the Vikings, the most scary person, Joey Browner was scary.
Oh, he's a black belt. What, Taekwondo?
Taekwondo, yeah. Keith Millard was scary because Keith Millard was just ornery. But the one that everybody was really scared of was Carl Eller.
His muscles are bigger than guns.
Yeah. Carl Eller was the one that, I mean, he flipped a switch and he could take a game over by himself. Him and Paige both. Paige had a temper too. But Eller was the one that was he was like the enforcer on that defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, most of your players in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way up until probably the 2000s, there were quite a few players that you wouldn't want to face. Sean Taylor, God rest his soul, was one of them. They were going to hit you. Jack Tatum. I mean, you've seen what Jack Tatum was. Brian Dawkins was intense too. Yep. Ed Reed. Troy Polamalu. Hell, J.J. Watt was actually intimidating. But yeah, there's a few players.
What's that safety? Andre something?
Who'd he play for?
I thought it was a.
Was it Adrian from the Cardinals?
No. I thought maybe it was the Eagles, but I could be wrong.
Well, they had Brian Dawkins. The Eagles did.
Yeah.
You're thinking of wait. They did have what was his name? Oh my God. He's no longer with us.
And take it off.
Andre Waters.
Yes, Andre Waters. Yes.
Andre Waters.
Yeah.
Yes, he was another one.
Dennis Smith, Steve Atwater.
Yeah. Gary Fensick. Doug Plank hit harder than him. Dave Dorson, no longer with us.
Lott, obviously.
Right. And Junior Seau. There were a ton of players. Ronnie Lott, of course. If you're now on offense, who wouldn't I want to run into? Mike Allstott. Peterson, yes. Shannon Sharp was tough to bring down when he caught the ball, too. Let's just be honest. So many. Lynch on defense. Yeah. John Lynch.
Bavaro. I saw him drag like 6 or 7
Bavaro
guys.
dragged like 5 49ers on a Monday night game. One of them was Ronnie Lott, as a matter of fact. Megatron was hard to bring down. Very hard to bring down. But there was
Moss, because he was hard to catch.
Yeah, Moss, because one, you had to catch him. He had them long ass legs. Marshawn, because he would run you over.
Yeah.
And keep running. So, well, should we wrap this up here?
Yeah, we'll be live Friday again.
Okay, we'll be on Friday. Okay.
Yeah, but then of course Sunday doing the play-by-play of the game. Now that we're not going to the game, I'm back to my abode.
Yeah. Well, hell, you got to get your voice back.
Hopefully it's back by then. Shoot.
Yeah, you got to get your voice back.
Hoping that team get them stops on that 4th down, ruined my voice.
Oh, is that what you were yelling at the 4th down?
I don't know. Just talking at the stadium, you have to raise your voice too. So
you have to, yeah. You do. You do. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Not a lot of history tonight because of who we played, but next week is a Packers, so ton of history there, folks.
Yeah,
ton of history.
So, like I said, we appreciate you guys coming and
thank you so much for the support. Thank you, everybody.
And for all you that showed up at Skullfest, much appreciated.
Oh, it was good to see some of you. It was really good to see you all.
Yep. So we'll see you guys Friday.
Vikings, let's win this game. Vikings, honoring the name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N.